I'm gonna steal from the Kaleidoscope Institute here and use a couple of icebreaker questions for you all to find somebody around you that maybe you don't know as well, groups 2, 3 or so, and to share. Let's do this. Share 2 things about yourself that you think would be completely obvious to anybody who looked at you. 2 things that you think would be completely obvious to anybody who looked at you, and then 2 things that nobody would ever know about you from looking at you. And that gives you something to do while you're eating, enjoying, while you're waiting for us to start the meeting. Y'all, do we have Lance C? Lance? Let's see. Hello, everyone. A quick status check. Are the clipboards making their way around? Does anyone have eyes on the sign-in clipboards? No. Okay. I will find the sign-in clipboards. All right, everyone. We have a couple of faithful volunteers who have been kind enough to make sure the clipboards are being passed around. So over the course of the meeting, the sign-in clipboards will make their way to you. That's our opportunity to make sure we have enough people here to have a quorum to actually vote on business. So make sure you keep an eye out for those clipboards that are going around.
Could I have everyone's attention for just a second? Many of you have received bingo cards, annual meeting bingo cards. I've distributed all the ones I have, so I encourage sharing if you didn't get one. The way this works is you will listen attentively, and when you hear or observe things that are on your bingo card, you mark them off. When you get 5 in a row, shout bingo. The first 3 bingos will receive a prize of a gift card to the coffee establishment of your choice. That being said, you have a few more minutes to enjoy your lunch. The meeting will begin at 12:50.
This one's on.
And everyone, as we are just a minute from getting started here, the waste bins will be coming down the aisles for any lunch refuse. Please know you can continue to eat. You don't have to throw your lunch away. You can continue to eat during the annual meeting, and the bins will come by again in maybe another 15 minutes for a second try. But please feel free to continue enjoying all of your lunch even once the meeting begins.
Okay, mic is off. Hello, everybody. We're not opening with a prayer because we've been doing nothing but praying for the last hour and some. But it is my privilege, my delight, my honor, and my duty to call to order this annual meeting of 2026 for St. James Cathedral. As we're cleaning up, a tremendous thanks and shout out to Kim and Selden, who, along with others, have provided this wonderful lunch for us. Thank you for handling that. And on top of that, have, of course, been working tirelessly over the last couple of years, several years, would even say, to transform our feeding ministries here at St. James and our parish hospitality ministries. So thank you for that as well. The St. James Cathedral 2026 annual meeting will now come to order. I have been informed by our canon vicar that it looks like we have a quorum. I'm sure that's true. And in order to record our elections and to provide record of this meeting, I call for the appointment of our clerk, Elizabeth Wakefield Connell. Elizabeth, are you here? Okay, well done. Okay, good. Thank you, Liz. And it is time, if you would like to follow along in your booklets, I would invite you to turn to the page. Well, actually, wait until you do that. You will see the section where we're about to elect new people, but first you'll also find all of that beyond the first 5 pages or so, or 8 pages, that's what we need for today's meeting, for right now and for the end. But you'll also see as you read on all of those wonderful ministry reports and they are descriptive of what already takes place at St. James. I encourage you to read them, really truly read them. You will feel better after you do. Read them, but not now. They've been provided, those reports, in large part by your fellow St. James members, along with our dedicated staff. It's truly an inspirational read, and about all that goes on in this place. It will perhaps spur your own interest in joining one of those ministries, or it might even encourage you to think about something that might be added for next year's booklet. And there certainly have been some that have come into being since the last annual meeting. And so now we will elect our new representatives. I want to take a moment first, though, to acknowledge those members of chapter whose 3-year terms have come to an end. John Fisher, Lisa Ahmad, and Greg Gerber. Lisa and John, please come forward. As I continue to talk, we'd like you to receive some tokens of our thanks. All of our Cathedral chapter members have served with distinction. Please come closer. Come over here, closer to me. Thank you. Now is not the time to get shy. You could say anything you wanted. All right, so John Fisher, I'd just like to acknowledge some of the charisms that our folks bring. John, your leadership acumen, your pastoral heart, and your light touch will be missed on chapter, but they will not be missed here because you are not allowed or given permission to go anywhere. And we know that you already are intending and plotting some other ministries, but it has been a true pleasure and a privilege to serve with you here. Stephen, if you could bring those, yeah. And Lisa Ahmad, thank you. Lisa is an indefatigable champion of our 9 o'clock service and always rooting for our choristers. She is dedicated to the life of both of those things, to St. James in general, and she always brings the joie de vivre. And so we will miss that on chapter, and we appreciate your willingness, both of you, to serve in this time where you have really played a critical role at a critical moment in the life of this congregation. And so I will, spoiler alert, tell you that there's a little bit of a gift certificate for you to go to a place that's nearby to lure you to come back down here every so often. Don't take a break. And then also a small book of prayers that I picked up by Frank Griswold, Bishop Frank Griswold, who served here as the diocesan bishop quite a while ago, but he was a wonderful spiritual director and leader of prayer, and so it's a collection of his prayers. On Tuesday, the second Tuesday of every month, and you're missing us, you can open it up and pray along with us. So please join me in thanking them for their service. Thank you. All right. Greg Gerber also, who has, of course, played a critical role in helping to lend his expertise to our project of the acquisition and activation of 65 East Huron. So, Greg, in absentia, we thank you for all you've done for us as well. Now, I invite you to turn to your booklets, pages 3 to 6, where you will find the slate for wardens, chapter members, diocesan convention delegate, and finance commission members. The 2026 slate was assembled with attention to the cathedral's emerging strategic priorities and with an awareness of the particular gifts that each nominated individual brings. They are for Senior Warden Alan Moy, for Junior Warden Olivia Elliott, for Chapter Kevin Hampton, Chris Melvin, and Kim Moreland, for Finance Commission George Culver and Mike Peck, for delegate to Diocesan Convention, along with our wardens, Jacob Perkins. What? Oh, that was a yay. I thought that was an urgent cry. Yes, indeed. We'll get to that. Hold on. In accordance with our bylaws, the slate was published along with a call for additional nominations. Having received none and therefore having only uncontested elections on behalf of the nominating committee, I move that the slate of candidates for wardens, chapter members, finance commission, and delegates to diocesan convention be elected by acclamation. Please show your assent by joining me in a round of applause. Alan, Olivia, Kim, Kevin, Chris, Mike, George, and Jacob, if you're here, please stand. I know most of us are. Please stand and let us thank you for your willingness to serve. And so, with that done, what I consider the housekeeping part, I want to turn to the main part of our program, and I want to first begin by one more time thanking our bishop for being with us. It is, you honor us with your presence here. She didn't even try to sneak out the side door after the service. She said, oh no, I'll absolutely want to be there. So thank you for your willingness to be here. And I look forward to hearing from her just a little bit later in these remarks. So I want to open with just some high-level remarks. I have actually farmed out to members of our team here, lay leaders and other staff leaders here to help me tell the story of what's important in our focus today. You all know that at every annual meeting you're looking back and reviewing and celebrating what has gone well, and you're looking forward with anticipation and with common vision and purpose to what is coming. Forged in fire. Forged in fire. You, if you've been paying attention to the front of your bulletins throughout the last few months, that is the theme for our 150th, our sesquicentennial celebration, where we are celebrating 150 years since the founders of St. James rebuilt their fire. And I can hear all of you scratching off your bingo cards. Okay. Hold on. So anyway, the resilience of this congregation, the persistence of vision and the unwillingness to just lay down and say, never mind, to give up. That spirit is what we have been rediscovering. We are in the middle of delving into a year of delving into our history, of uncovering connections we did not know. Our Arts Council mounted a show, a sweep of history. It was an impactful installation in Kyle's Place that allowed us to literally walk through the history of St. James. and to understand more about the people who laid down not only the foundations of this worshiping community, but also laid the very foundations of the city that would grow into the Chicago we know today. But our sesquicentennial timeline was not only a backwards-looking survey, but a living document, and as we walked through it, we saw ourselves in that story. We saw ourselves, and we saw our deepest values reflected. And then we're invited to think about where from this place do we turn and project forward into the future which God is calling us into still. That founder's spirit and resilience continues, and this meeting's highlights will tell the story of the continued vitality and growth and commitment to God's project in this very particular part of God's kingdom. I want to acknowledge the absolutely stunning contributions of our lay leadership over this year. Our canon vicar, Stephen Balke, will go into that. He'll share that more in detail in just a few moments. I want also to acknowledge the deep generosity and the commitment of people to support the ministry of this place through your financial means as well. Our chapter member and member of the pledge team, Phil DeBush, will also speak to that. Our treasurer, Paul, will speak to that as well. This last year, I'm sure if you've kind of happened on one or two of the sermons where I've mentioned this, a few years ago, I heard Sam Wells, who's an Anglican theologian, he and the rector or the priest in charge at St. Martin in the Fields in London. And he's in a community not unlike ours, and they have challenges not unlike ours. He wrote a book and the title of it is, Will We Have a Future That is Bigger Than the Past? And that image captivated me when I heard it 2 or 3 years ago. Will St. James, and you all know that there was a time where the news, around the time of the pandemic, we were told this building next to us will go away, and what that would mean for our operations and our ability to be St. James. We really were facing a time and a moment where we had to decide, are we going to be, is St. James going to have a future that is bigger than its past, or is it going to have a future that's smaller than its past? And I pose this question over and again, as in all the iterations of what we have been working on since that time, and certainly in the last 3 years since I've come into this executive position, asking us, all of the leadership, the cathedral leadership, the chapter leadership, who are we going to be? Who do we think God is calling us to be? So every time, and I just have to say, every time the chapter has voted yes, we will have a bigger vision. We will not retreat. And it's that same spirit and in the DNA of this place that when faced with a challenge, we rise to it and we exceed any of the expectations we had before. Speaking of annual meetings, so this is my 4th annual meeting. My first one was just a month or 2 after I started. I started as the provost. You all who've been around will know and recall that I started that in November, just actually around the same time our bishop stepped into her leadership as our bishop was consecrated. And I was named and stepped into the position November 1, and somewhere in November or December, I don't recall, it was very shortly thereafter, the bishop and trustees, the B&T, announced, we have put 65 East Huron up for sale. They'd been talking about it for a couple of years, and they did it right then after I was called into position. So my first annual meeting was January of 23, and those of you who were here might remember that I came into the room with a stuffed elephant who had a little necklace and a medallion that said 65 East Huron. And I did that so that we could name the reality that hanging over that whole room was this reality that I'm stepping, this new provost stepping into this job, and oh, by the way, we're going to lose that building. But saying that that was not the only thing that defines us, and to say, we'll be doing the work on that, we'll be working in concert with those people we can, and we will work to make that a decision that comes around right. And I was able to announce at that time that our bishop, Bishop Clark, and I had begun conversations one-on-one in a quiet way, and that I was able to say at that 23 meeting, Bishop Paula and I have decided that we're going to do everything we can to come to a conclusion and a resolution of this that is mutually upbuilding, that upbuilds both the Diocese of Chicago and St. James. And so she has made good on that promise over the last 3 years. The next annual meeting in 2024, after a year of regular meetings by the then wardens at the time, Nicole Spencer and Susan Fickling, through a lot of close relational work, we were able to announce, after all of their work together with others on the B&T, we were able to announce in January of 2024 that Bishop and trustees in St. James had agreed to negotiate. They were going to accept an offer from us, a cash offer from us, not a development offer, but a cash offer from St. James. And that wasn't on the table at first. That had to be negotiated, and I was able to announce we are in conversations about coming to an LOI, that's a letter of intent, the first initial offer. I do think it was Bob Wirtz who raised his hand at the end. There was a lot of relief in the room, and Bob said, wait a minute. In other words, nothing's changed. I see you, Bob. But in fact, something had changed. Just it's been an incremental process. And indeed, in 2025, at my third annual meeting, last year's annual meeting, I was able to report that we had moved from the preliminary agreement of the LOI to having submitted a PSA, which is a contract for purchase and sale. I did not know all of this when I went to seminary, by the way. I'm going to go into real estate if this priest thing doesn't work out. But the PSA, contract for purchase and sale, B&T was able to have come to an agreement that we would keep talking, and we had begun, when the LOI came into being in 24, we had begun fundraising. So last year, I was able to announce we've started the PSA process, and we had begun the fundraising campaign at the same time that we signed the LOI. So 6 months in, 5 months in, I was able to announce that we had raised $1 million toward the purchase of 65 East Huron. And now, today, at this meeting, I will get to announce yet again another evolution, another incremental step, and I'm going to invite the bishop to come forward. But first, let me tell you the other half of it, and I'll give you more detail on this later, is that I can tell you that with another year of fundraising, I'm very proud to tell you that we have raised $6.2 million in... Thank you. $6.2 million toward the purchase of 65 East Huron, and that's that part of the campaign. That doesn't touch what we're also raising for this building, but I'll say more about that later. At this point, it would be my delight to ask you, Bishop Paula, to come forward and simply share the good news with us as I stand next to you.
Thank you. That sharing and standing next to me is really important. As I mentioned in the sermon, it's an example of what has been going on behind the scenes for the last 3 years. It really is. And so today is my honor and privilege to say that the bishop and trustees voted last Tuesday to go forward with this sale and to you have put together a way of financing things that we felt warrants and encourages us in moving forward. So we're excited about that and said, yes, we look forward to the positive outcome of the closing of this building, which is on the horizon. We couldn't see it. I told y'all had a can-do attitude before. Well, we got to see it and embrace it. And so thank you for that, and we will be going forward in earnest so that we can see the ending of this road. So God bless and keep you on this. Of course, because we are the diocese, we have to confer and do our due diligence and all that kind of thing. But we are excited this was a hopeful outcome, and we look forward to being able to move forward with the purchase of this, of 65 East Shore. And thank you so much for that. It's been long awaited. No, well, I just want to say that I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about some of the people who have been a part of this process all along. It's enough to say that we put energy into it, and I'm sure you believe that, but Susan and I and other people are going steady. And Nicole, you almost left part of your soul with this process. And, and other members of your staff, Lisa, and Lisa and I, late night, talking on the phone. I mean, you cannot get, and as Lisa said, we were not trained to do this in seminary. And so now we have this jargon that who knows what we're talking about, and we think that we do a little bit. The point is that we have gained these skills, not just because we learned them, but because God was leading the way. And I really do feel that God has been involved in this process, and I give God thanks for helping us get to this place, because it was a long time coming, I hear, before me, before Lisa, before most of us. And so,
You could ask all the people who've worked on this to stand up.
yes, please, everyone who's worked on this hill, please stand. Thank you. Thank you for all your dedication. So God bless and keep you, and I look forward to Lisa saying, yeah, and a few months ago we did
Yes.
for next year, okay? God bless and keep you. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you very much for sharing that good news with us. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, that's great, but how are we going to pay for it? Because $6 million is not $20 million, which is, in fact, the purchase price that we are working toward. So I'm going to give you the briefest capital campaign update, a word of acknowledgement for all those who've worked on the capital campaign, especially Ann Driscoll, who helped lead us through as our chair for, it feels like a couple of years. But thank you for the work, and we will continue on in the next phase of this. You can turn to page 40 in your ministry report packet if you're a visual learner. And it is a very high, there you'll find a very high-level summary of our capital campaign activity through 2025. And the story of the campaign has several layers that are hard to capture in one pager, so I'm just going to tease that out a little bit for you so you can understand what is underneath that. The fact is that we have been engaged in multiple campaigns, and both the glory and the weight of this fundraising has been that we have several very distinct donor groups, and I'll say a bit more about that. Like I said, I'm pleased to report the progress since our last annual meeting, where we reported we had raised $1 million. Today, I can again reiterate that we've raised $6.2 million in documented commitments towards the acquisition of the modern building. At the same time, even though it was not our priority focus, during 2025, we did manage to add to our original separate and apart from 65 East Huron fundraising, the original campaign, to which many of you have donated already, which now holds and has grown to hold commitments of $3.4 million towards the new organ and other restoration projects in our historic cathedral building. This has taken committed work by a group of volunteer campaign leaders led alongside the chapter's bold visions for the further activation of our campus as a convening place for all of our congregation, our diocese, our neighborhood, the broader civic and cultural community of Chicago. Plans are in the works to fully utilize the available office space that the building offers, 65 East, through partnership agreements with the bishop's staff, with Bexley Seabury Seminary, and with others. And we have been working closely with Michael Sullivan, the CEO of Canoga Camp and Conference Center in North Carolina, to help us develop a business plan for a revitalized and profitable fifth floor conference and retreat center, currently known as the Nicholas Center. Yay, yes, I'll get that. And in addition to a robust network of prospective donors from within St. James and across the Episcopal Diocese of Chicago, the campaign has also activated a group of passionate modern architects and their supporters. These individuals are concerned with preserving the building, 65 East Huron, and its plaza in memory of the architect Peter Roche, the one who designed it, and was a student of Mies van der Rohe, and in celebration of the democratic values of the modern architecture movement by ensuring not only the building stays, but that the plaza outside of 65 East Huron remains open and free to the public. And while there is no shortage of work left to be done to secure the remaining funds to purchase 65 East Huron, another group has been hard at work crafting and drafting designs for our historic cathedral building priorities. In the year ahead, there will be updates to share about these long overdue renovations, including the installation of our much awaited and celebrated new organ, the repairing of our exterior stonework, the stained glass work, and more. We'd like to get that scaffolding out from around our building. There will also be future invitations to all of us, to all St. James community, to make gifts in support of both of these campaigns. I know it comes up every year, like, when can we get involved? You will be asked to help. Please rest assured. It's just that the phasing of this is because the acquisition of 65 East Huron is the linchpin in this master plan. If we don't get that, we have to have all different plans for this building. So that's why the continued focus. 6 1/4, we're not quite there yet. We believe that once we move into this next phase, that we will complete that campaign quickly and turn more intentionally toward the funding around all of the special projects in this building. I have no doubt, I have not an iota of doubt that we will raise the money we need to restore, revitalize this cathedral for the next 150 years. The people of God in, I'm going to tear up, bingo card. The people of God in this place set the stage for us and built this beautiful and magnificent space that we are privileged to be in, to worship in, to gather in. And it is up to us. We are the generation that is going to set that stage for the next several generations. I think that is it. If you're like, that's nice, but I need to talk to you now about my contribution, please do reach out to me. If there's something time sensitive in your life and you want to get in on this now, do give me a ring, find Bo, just reach out to the cathedral office. And so the last thing I want to say is that sometimes, often in a congregation, and I will confess that we thought this too, we were in a position where we needed to up our game with our annual pledging. St. James has been growing steadily, and one of the concerns you have as a leader in a church is, well, won't a capital campaign dilute our giving? Isn't it possible that that our annual giving will take a hit? The truth is, even though that's a common concern, the common knowledge and the common outcome is that it actually can boost your annual giving. And so to talk more about that and to tell us about that, I would like to invite Phil DeBush, a wonderful, faithful chapter member, long-term member of St. James for, I don't even want to tell your age, but yes, a few decades, chapter member, and very much a spark plug in our annual pledge drive this last year. So Phil, please come and tell us the good news.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. All right, so just for starters, I cannot talk about stewardship or pledging without first acknowledging the outstanding leadership of Marcy Backus, who has been, yes, round of applause for sure. She has chaired our stewardship committee for the last 2 years, and the amount of preparation, organization, and coordination that has to happen to make it run smoothly and effectively, she brings all of that, and she really made it happen. So very grateful to her. One strategic shift that we made this year when we embarked on the pledge campaign was we decided before we went out to all of you and said, hey, we're starting the pledging campaign, we decided to go to Chapter and ask Chapter to pledge first. And Chapter responded generously. Chapter members increased their pledges by 19% compared to their pledges the previous year. And the rest of you followed that momentum. And so I am thrilled to share the results. So after last year's campaign, so the previous year, which brought in just over $800,000 in pledges, this year, for the first time ever, we surpassed $1 million in pledges. So that's a 23% increase, just as meaningful as the dollars. The participation increased significantly. So the number of people pledging was up 22%. So it's the first time that we had over 200 pledges that we received. And just one more impressive stat that I want to throw out at you is that 3/4 of the pledges that we got, so 75% of the pledges received were either increases from the previous year or brand new pledges, people who hadn't pledged before. So really just an extraordinary milestone. And by the way, if any of you have not yet pledged, because we do still have a few stragglers, just because we hit this goal doesn't mean we don't need those pledges. But extraordinary milestone. It's unquestionably a reflection of the exciting things that are happening at St. James. Our average Sunday attendance is up 15% compared to the previous year. That's not happening in churches today, generally speaking. Our ministries are thriving. Our leadership is truly extraordinary. So it's definitely a moment for us to celebrate and be proud of. At the same time, I feel in my heart that we can do more. And when I served on Chapter, this was a previous tour of Chapter 15 years ago, someone brought up the question of, prior to a pledge campaign, should we be talking to the congregation about tithing? And the answer at the time was no, and it was probably the right answer. We really weren't ready at the time. And tithing, as many of you know, is the scriptural call for us to take the generosity that God has bestowed unto us and to give 10% of it back. And it's been adapted in kind of today's world by some people, where you give 5% to the church and maybe 5% to other organizations that you value. 15 years ago, aside from the clergy, there was hardly anyone tithing. Today, we actually have people in our congregation who are tithing, and we have even more who are taking very deliberate steps toward getting to that tithing goal. And I think that's just an extraordinary and powerful sign of faith and spiritual growth. I am very excited about where we are right now. I'm even more excited about where we're going. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for your generosity and for your commitment to the mission of St. James.
Thank you, Phil. And again, thank you for pointing to Marcy's great leadership. We really appreciate what she has done for all of us. And indeed, for your leadership around tithing. I will share with you that I was just like this close to tithing, and because of Phil's inspirational, I'm like, why am I not tithing? Just go for it. So I'm on the ship now with you. Very good. I would like, that's not the only growth we've had, and I'd like to invite forward our intrepid canon vicar, Stephen Balke, who is going to tell us about growth in other ways. Stephen.
Thank you so much, Dean Hackney James, Bishop Clark. wardens, members of chapter, St. James Cathedral. It is my honor to give you all the ministry report for this year. It was over the course of the last couple of weeks, we had a person coming and joining our church for a couple of worship services. He said he was a regular at the Catholic Church, and he came in, was sharing his experience. He said, as he likes to call it the Episcopalians, as he likes to say, Catholic light. And that always gives me a little bit of it doesn't sit well with me. And he went on, though. He went on to say, I've been at St. James Cathedral for a couple of weeks here, and I've watched as you all have offered beautiful worship beyond what I've experienced anywhere else. I've watched how hard your choir is working. I watched how hard so many of you are working behind the scenes. I can see it. And then you all go off and then you participate in feeding ministries to feed others. Your doors are always open to welcome people in. You're not afraid of asking the hard questions. I watch as your Sunday school is then packed over here with so many more children we can't fit them in the room. And you all aren't afraid to be in disagreement with one another and let that stop you from being community. And so he said to me, he said, I'm going to stop calling the Episcopals Catholic light. I'm going to start calling the Catholics Episcopal light. And I thought, I like that a little better. Over the course of the last few years, I have watched as we have wrestled with an adaptive challenge of growth beyond what we have known how to meet the capacity for. And coming from Ron Heifetz, the Harvard Business School, he talks about the need for adaptive change, which is not just, the solution can't just be, let's just work harder, let's just have the staff work harder. And I came to you all in 2024 to say we have a need for an adaptive change. We are going to shift from a staff-led, lay-supported ministry model to lay-led, staff-supported ministries, because that is going to unshackle us from all of the potential growth we see happening in this place. You'll no longer be slowed down by just how fast your staff and clergy can be working, but we'll be here to let you all fly. And I promised you all a year ago to say, if you go with us on this, this can happen, and you will be amazed at the growth. And I am here on the stage to say thank you for not making me a liar. Because in this year, we've been able to not just continue the core ministries that St. James has been known for, the high-quality Anglican liturgies, the choir, the meal ministries, Summer in the City, but we've been able to build on that capacity. It's shown our growth not just in the numbers. Phil mentioned amazing numbers, but those numbers don't tell the whole story where the rubber hits the road, because it's about impact. It's about Christian witness. And I've watched as our current ministries have strengthened. I've watched as more and more of our lay leaders are stepping forward, seeing leadership within themselves to help assist with our choristers programs, our Wednesday night dinners, our Revive ministry, Summer in the City, our morning prayer, daily morning prayer on Zoom, our meal ministries, our Sunday school. You all have stepped forward to show that the people of St. James can lead. And not just that, but to see bold in new engagements. That I want to just lift up a few, talking about our engagement with Task Force on the west side and our partners with St. Martin's, the task force that meets the mostly LGBT homeless youth needs. You all don't just bring coats out to them in the winter, but then you take the time to stay and talk with them, get to know their stories. The growth, the inauguration of our St. James Pride group, our family and community groups, our 60s and 70s groups, a new Monday night Bible reflection, our Education for Ministry, our EFM program, and a brand new Sunday theological study that's just coming to fruition this Lent coming up. I hope you all have been able to see over the course of the last year how our Arts Council has brought community and excitement to this place with their offerings, and people coming and saying, how can we be a part of this? And we went from saying, hold on, we'll figure out how to make you a part of things, to you all just running with it and saying, here's what we can do. With the help of our staff, we have an amazing staff who do an amazing job of lifting us up and empowering us for communication and logistics, but you all are the ones that are making this possible. Our coffee hour, our hospitality ministries that has made it so that people are staying and gathering and forming relationships that started with just a few people that have said, we can do this, we can do a little more. I see the potential within us. And so this has grown so far beyond what would have been possible with just the staff alone. And it's a little bit of a trap when I start trying to name names, because then you run into the trap of leaving a name out. So what we're going to do instead in this time, I'm going to tell you all, I would like you to make sure you take the time to take the annual meeting book. Look through the ministries here, especially the new ones that are forming. Look at the leaders and how you can be involved. Where do you see yourself as a leader in this? And then I want to start asking some of you all to stand and be recognized. If you have been a part of offering pastoral care in this space, if you've been a part of bringing communion to someone, saying a prayer with somebody, being a pastor to them, I invite you to be standing. If your names get mentioned again, you can do the little bit of the Episcopal dip where you dip and come back up again. If you've been a part of our formation, helping to plan or offer formation programming for our Sunday morning forum series, please stand. And stay standing. Oh, and stay standing, pastoral care people. For our arts, for communities, for newcomers, for those who have been in our arts council or our newcomers ministries. For those who have played a role in our children and our youth programming and our Sunday schools, helping out on Wednesday nights, songs and stories, nursery care. For those of you who have been a part of our feeding ministries, our clothing ministries, reaching out to those who need it most. For our worship, for those who have been helping with the technology and cleaning the linens and being the altar guild, setting our space, serving as acolytes. For our choir and choristers. For those who work to welcome people in this space, our ushers, our newcomers leaders. For those of you who take the time to greet somebody at the door who's new to this space and help them feel welcome. For those of you who have taken the time to say a little bit of a prayer for someone in need, who've contributed your time, your skills, your passions to this space. And for those of you who have been here to support someone else in being able to be a minister in this space. Just pause for a second. We say in our baptismal covenant that we will seek and serve Christ in all people, loving our neighbors as ourselves. You all make that possible in this space. I'm so proud of you all and thankful for the work that you've done in this last year, excited for the work to come because this train isn't slowing down, everybody. It's picking up speed and we're picking up more passengers along the way, and I am so excited to be a part of supporting you in the great work that you will do in the next year to come at St. James. Thank you very much.
Before you slip away, Stephen, I do not want this meeting to go by without acknowledging your particular gifts and your particular leadership. The growth you just described could not happen without you. I could not ask for a better, more competent, more energized, and loyal colleague. And I do thank God. Golly, okay, thanks. So now, something to really cry about, the treasurer's report. Paul, get over here. Paul Thompson, another faithful leader in this congregation, please tell us the news.
Thank you, Dean. There's a lot of financial information permeating every page of the booklet you have, but the formal financial pages are 34 through 37. If you'd like to look at those, you can. If you'd like to just listen, I will tell you what you need to know. But this is an operating budget summary for the year. Ending my 14th year as our treasurer, I find that the preliminary and unaudited financial results for our nearly $2 million operating budget for the year ending December 31st, 2025, shows St. James Cathedral had a strong year with results gaining momentum heading into fiscal year 2026. Expenses were ever so slightly over budget, 0.4% or $7,083. Considering inflation, I'm okay with that. Right? Thanks to the staff for, doing what we budgeted. You can read in the materials about the exciting program activities that were supported by the staff, space, and supplies included in the operating budget. The value of pledged dollars received was the highest ever at $837,030. This exceeded the value of pledges pledged for the first time ever by $20,136. And we received an amazing 58.5%, or $70,282 more plate offerings than we budgeted for. Overall revenues for the operating budget were 9.5% higher than budgeted, and so much higher than expected that our reliance on investment draws from Vanguard was $105,075 less than budgeted. That's a huge step in the right direction. Yeah. For any established nonprofit, that's a huge, huge step. And we received $135,593 in fulfillment of pledges towards the 2026 operating budget before this year even began. Our year-end checking balance was pretty high. Counting prepaid pledges for 2026, 2025 operating budget revenues, including those offerings from our many visitors, and capital campaign gifts for projects like the replacement of the pipe organ, renovation of this historic building, and purchase of the modern building, we received almost $1.2 million in our checking account in the month of December. That's remarkable. Also in December, Chapter approved an operating budget for 2026 that totals $2,148,694, which represents a continuation of current operations without reflecting any impact of acquiring ownership of the combined campus. One of our first tasks in the new year will be to craft and approve a revised operating budget, taking into consideration new costs and new revenues that will result from the shift in status to a very different financial structure. We look forward to a new era of paying for our operations with funds pledged, given, and earned now, partnering with the Diocese of Chicago, other organizations, and friends from far beyond our walls in this exciting new reality. While honoring our history, we will not be relying on the past. Instead, we will work in the present to set up our children in the faith for future success in this place. Next month, we will say thank you and farewell to Christine Price, our accountant for the past decade, which was one like no other decade in our history. She has already welcomed her successor, Saimamatha Akineni, who will handle our accounting needs as we proceed into God's future. And for those of you interested in taking a closer look at the budget figures, be on the lookout for an announcement in our weekly e-news about the date and time of a special meeting to take a deeper dive and to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Now, don't go too far, because while we'll do the deep dive, this is the time, I think, for questions. Is that where we are? It is, and I believe that we have roving microphones. I see Charlie. I see our deacon, yes, very good. So if you have a question for Paul or Stephen or the wardens or anything else, the bishop, me, just wave your hand.
Testing.
All right. Charles. Did you say, can we get a really big credit card? We kind of are looking at something basically like that. There'll be there's a bond issue. Well, this will be more, but this is too much to add to this meeting. But we are looking at a creative financing structure that will help us to get where we need to get. Yeah. Oh, I see. Thank you. Sorry. Charlie,
I have one question.
can you identify yourself?
I'm Hope Smith, and my question is, are we aware that Christine Price is actually here today? And could we please acknowledge her for the work she has done for the cathedral as accountant for so long?
Is that a rhetorical question? Yes. Christine, would you do
Christine,
us the
can you stand
favor
up,
and
please?
please stand?
Don't be shy.
Christine has been not only a great colleague to those of us on staff, but she has been a rudder in the water. She has fancy degrees from Northwestern University, and she knows how to use them, keeping us on the straight and narrow with all of our accounting. So thank you, Christine. And I somehow am in denial that this is the end. It can't be. So she does intend to take her retirement, as is due her, in a couple of months or so.
Don't leave.
What?
Don't leave, Christine.
Any other questions or commentary? Yes.
Do we have a PR person or somebody that announces all the stuff we're doing? Right now, we have this milestone of the Chicago fire, and I look at this list of all the things that are going on. It occurred to me that Ramadan starts on the same day as Ash Wednesday. There'll be all sorts of stuff on the media about Ramadan. Will there be anybody here? And all the stuff that we're doing, there's, WTTW has a religion reporter, WBZR does, who is reaching out?
So thank you for that. We do actually, one of the things we have done in our staff realignment was to bring on, to take, just to remind everyone, 3 years ago, we had one person, it was Jocelyn Kaleo, but one desk that was admin, bulletins and liturgical sort of support and communications. And so we have taken that and broken it into pieces. And we do have somebody who is helping us with communications along with Bo Surratt, who's here and doing a terrific job. But the real answer to that, and we do have somebody who helps us with one-off communications. For example, when we actually purchase this building, we will be going wide with that news. But you do make a good point about the role of a broader strategy around communications that can help us share this. In your report, you'll see that our communications team, Bo, and then Tamara Newborn, who is our part-time off-site communications person, that our social media impact is actually just remarkably expanded. And what's the number, 36,000 views or something like that we've touched other than Sunday morning. So we're working on it. It's a good idea. It would be great to be able to afford a full-time communications person. That's one of the next.
I designed casinos and things, and we have to bring people in, and that's our evangelical.
Can you repeat?
Evangelical aspect of our community here, and that's to show all the things that we're doing, and that people that walk by here, and you'd be surprised how many people think that this is a Roman Catholic church. And I say,
I wouldn't be that surprised. I usually notice it when people get up and leave when they see me standing here.
proud of that, and be happy about it.
Thank you, and you're going to see a lot more of that. That's going to be part of the messaging, part of the strategy, frankly, for the fundraising, which is we need to be bigger. And Jane Thompson, Governor Thompson's wife, said to me as one of the first interviews I had with on fundraising, she said, you need to think bigger. St. James means a lot more to the city of Chicago. It's not just Episcopalians. She is an Episcopalian, but it's not just Episcopalians who care about this. So thank you for that encouragement, and anybody who has resources in that, please do reach out to me and time and energy to do something with it. Again, that we could really be helped with that. Any other questions or comments? I see Tom.
I continue to be concerned that St. James isn't in the streets. The bishop and you suggested in your sermon this morning that these are perilous times. And I would like to see us carry our witness into the world in a more militant way. This isn't a criticism. I know the community is doing a lot, individually and corporately, but I am not feeling a call in the church to do more public witness for immigrants, for peace, for all of that business.
Thank you, Tom, and I'm sure you
Amen.
speak for a number of people, folks.
God is good.
Charlie, just pass the mic around. So thank you for that, Tom. I know that you speak for more than just yourself on that. And you speak to the inner longings of a number of people wishing there was something to do. Last Sunday, I did preach a sermon where I quoted the Bishop of New Hampshire, who said the time is coming, perhaps, where we're beyond statements, where it's maybe the time, because of the garments that we wear, because of our Christian identity, that we put our bodies between those who are most vulnerable and those who are allied against them, the powers of this world. So that is absolutely a holy yearning. Yes. Can you please identify yourself and speak?
So much easier. I'm Mary Pat Morrow, a new member of the cathedral, relatively long-time Episcopalian. Following up on this gentleman's suggestion, I have been yearning for years for Stations of the Cross that take place in the streets. And I think with Lent coming up, it's something we could potentially partner with our Catholic neighbors, they're not far, to do with all the violence. We could go to St. Martin's neighborhood and do it on the west side. You talk about a community in peril. I think there are some opportunities there that we could take prayer and action. And you want some media attention, that'd do it. But that's just a suggestion.
Thank you, Mary Pat. I appreciate it. And thank you and those are excellent ideas. And I've heard from others in one-on-one conversations this same desire to do something emblematic, something that communicates, something that shows our solidarity with those who are most vulnerable right now. This is an open call to again, rather than kind of pushing that up to the staff ladder, the people who are interested in doing this, I know that Charlie Peterson has talked about wanting to have a St. James group. So if this is calling your heart and you want to do something, you want to make this kind of witness, and you have ideas, we can convene that group and we can go from there. We're all on board with the concept. It's just, there's a number of things, including bandwidth right now. And so for leadership, this is an excellent opportunity for leadership to arise from within the congregation and to do that, but not just to go off on kind of a, madcap adventure, but to invite others at St. James into that. And so excellent. And it's a part of I think the future that's bigger than our past. It's about St. James reclaiming this essential cathedral identity, which has always, the cathedrals in Europe have always sat at the edge of the church and the broader culture, civic and cultural institutions. And so, perfect way for us to continue to live into that cathedral vocation. Thank you. Other thoughts, questions? Yes, Mary. Oh my gosh, Mary Jo.
Mary Jo Barton. I just want to say I didn't hear the name anywhere else along here, but we do have someone that I know has been very significant about the physical work on our building and so on, and that's Craig Backus. I don't want to let the annual meeting go past without mentioning that that's been a very serious concern.
Thank you
And
very
thank
much.
you.
Yes, that's Craig Backus has indeed put his shoulder to the wheel. Again, God's gift. Craig, please stand and be recognized. Craig is an unassuming man. He quietly lurks about and makes things go better around here. And we are very much, he is a professional in this. He's had a whole career in managing big projects and being an owner's rep, and he has helped us with the fabric of this place, and he's not done yet. We're in the middle of some big things. So hopefully next year you'll get to hear more about the detail of what Craig has been up to. Any other comments or questions? Yes, I see Katie Balke. Do you have?
This is not a question. I wanted to announce that I have been notified of 3 bingo winners. So congratulations to Stephen Buzard, Katie Buzard, and Carl Schmidt. I've consulted with them about their prizes, and to the rest of you, thanks for playing, and an honorable mention.
Thank you, Katie. And I believe that is, in fact, Katie Balke's creation. Thank you for that. And Stephen, yes, very good. I think, unless there's another question, of course, this is not the only time we can take questions. We do work here. Yes, Frank, you need... Hold up, Frank. Troublemaker.
For 40 years, I ran nonprofits, big corporations and organizations, and I have to say it takes one person at the top who is really significant kind of magician behind the scenes. And we've acknowledged all the volunteers and the chapter and everyone else, but I think Lisa needs to be recognized as an outstanding standing leader.
Thank you. Thank you. You all make it easy. It is a thrill. It is the thrill of my life to be doing this work with you all right now. And I could not have imagined this wonderful task that has been in front of us and still remains. And so that's my summary remarks, which will be very short. And this was on my heart before it arose from the floor. And that is, of course, coming into today, there are moments where I knew all of the good news that we would be sharing, and I think sometimes we can think, isn't it inappropriate to be celebrating and enjoying this wonderful, all of the blessings and gifts and grace of this place while such suffering is going on in the world. And yesterday, the bishop mentioned it in the sermon, but yesterday is a tough day. I myself spent far too much time in distress, understanding what happened to Alex Pretty. We are in perilous times. We do not know what the next days, weeks, months will bring. And you all know that I have said from day one in this, with the first time that the federal agents came to town, we do not know what is coming down the pike, but we are doing the best we can to be prepared for it and to understand what our calling and what our role is in this moment. And I think far from saying we shouldn't celebrate and hold up and affirm the good news, I think God would say it is more important than ever that we proclaim the good news, that we look beyond the distress and the dismay and the toxicity of what's going on around us, and we look to the taproot, to the depth of God's love for this world. The world doesn't need one more feeling helpless. What the world needs is hope. What the world needs is strength, and that is the strength that we have as the gathered people of God, who are aligning our lives with gospel truth, who are following as Christ has bid us to follow, who are reaching out in compassion, using our voices, using our bodies, and letting God speak through us. It is more important than ever, St. James, that we be who we can be. Not every church can be this strong and this impactful. And the institutions that can be impactful must be impactful at this time. And so we don't know. I've said this how many times? We don't know what our role will be, but I know it will be apparent to us when the moment arises. We're attentive, we're watching, we're open, we're willing, God, to be your hands, your feet, your heart, your voice in this world. So let us go together, step by step, and stepping into that future again. Just a reminder that the first thing you walk in these doors, those west doors, if you look to your left, what do you see? You see the Civil War Memorial, where the members of this church who went off to war in a civil war and are recognized there. This church has persisted through not just one, not just two, not just a couple, through many cultural moments that require the people of God to step up to the plate and show their faith in the world, and we will not let the people around us down. With that, I would like to ask the wardens to come forward. The last duty that we have is the passing of the warden's cross, but before we do that, I would like to ask Stephen to bring forward just a little token for our wonderful senior warden, Susan Fickling. Get closer, thank you. It's been a morning of acknowledgments, or an afternoon of acknowledgments, forgive me. It's hard to acknowledge Susan's contribution to the story of St. James. Susan, I remember your haplessly saying yes to junior warden 4 years ago, knowing that we had a little project on the horizon. And Susan has been a rock, a steady influence. She has been passionate, not only about the building project, but about the core of the gospel, especially St. James's vocation to reach out to those who are at the edges, at the margins of the world. And that strong commitment to justice, to her passion for our 9 o'clock and our choristers, the beauty and the love and the formation that's happened here. Susan, there aren't enough words to thank you for what you have given to this place. And you go from this place with our love, our respect, and absolutely a little bit of a tether. You're not going from this place, you're just going from this place. And we expect that you will continue to be a powerful witness to God's love in this world. Thank you for all you've done.
Okay, you guys, I practiced this morning. I said I wasn't going to cry, and then Lisa did that. So I'm going to get this, I'm going to get it over, and I'm going to say something, and hopefully people are going to laugh. All right, just a few words, because I know everybody's ready to go home. I'm going to go drink some champagne after this, so I also want to leave. So my years serving as in this chapter have been fulfilling in so many ways. I've always found so much comfort and strength in this community, which is very important right now, given everything. Okay, I'm gonna stop. 1 second. Okay, we've done so many things over the past year that we should be incredibly proud of. Naming Lisa Ardeen, right? Launching our sesquicentennial celebration, and I hear what you're saying about being out in the streets. I am with you, and I want everyone to put on your calendar July 25th. We're going to do a local Chicago pilgrimage, bringing St. James into the streets. We're going to do a walk. We're going to visit a bunch of very important places, starting on the south side, walking north, right? TBD on the specific route, but it's going to be amazing. So if you want to get out there in the street, there's some time to do that with that as well. We are continuing to serve our neighbors. We've heard about the growth, our community members, mind, body, spirit, and of course, this amazing point of agreement with the diocese around 65 East Huron. There's still a lot of work to be done and some considerable opportunities. Remember, opportunities in consultant speak is another word for challenges. So we have those ahead of us, but I think that we will benefit from new leadership. I think not-for-profit organizations benefit from a diverse, inclusive group of people who have different visions for the future than I would have. And I'm going to be here. I'm going to be challenging you all. I'm going to be pushing. I'm still helping plan that gala, y'all, so I'll be here. And I think that with Alan's leadership and Olivia coming on board as the junior warden and the rest of the chapter, it'll be an amazing time. And lastly, I'll just say, I am a proud graduate of a women's college. I see you, Nicole. And the founder of my school, Ellen Browning Scripps, famously said that it's the most important thing for a college. Dang it, you all, I really thought I could do this. Okay, I got it, okay. Is the ability to give its students the opportunity to think clearly and independently, and the ability to live confidently, courageously, and hopefully. So my hope for St. James and its next chapter, in many ways, is the same. Let us move forward in hope and courage to confidently begin this new phase. Thank you. And most importantly, now I get to give the benefit and the burden and everything of this lovely cross to Alan, who's going to be an amazing senior warden.
Well, it's actually pretty heavy. Small, but heavy.
Oh, it's heavy. Trust me. You go ahead.
Okay, well, first of all, Bishop Clark, Dean Hackney James, I'd like to say I'm truly inspired by your strength, your courage, your faith, and your leadership. I feel truly blessed and honored to be in this space and time with the two of you. To my fellow members of St. James, I'm deeply honored to accept the role of senior warden at such a pivotal time in our history. This cathedral stands as a beacon of faith and service well beyond the city of Chicago, and I'm humbled by the trust that you've placed in me to help steward this mission. As others have mentioned, we've seen incredible growth and expansion of our missions and programs. The number of people willing to step forward to share their time, talent, and gifts through involvement in ministry, committees, task force, partnerships, and groups is a testament of God's presence as we strengthen our community, putting faith to purpose. As we look toward the coming year, I'm committed to supporting our clergy, fostering a transparent and collaborative chapter, and ensuring every member of our community feels heard and valued. Together, let us continue to build a thriving and vibrant house of worship rooted in the love of Christ, where all are welcome. Thank you again, and I look forward to working with you.
I'd like you to put this on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. And we have arrived. It's back to the first pages of your booklet. If you will turn to page 7, and please stand. We have the opportunity to have a final prayer, the campaign prayer, blessing from our bishop, and then we will sing asking for God to give us wisdom and courage going forward. So together let us pray. Faithful God, you call us to be living stones in a spiritual temple. Bless the mission and outreach of this cathedral church. By the power of your Holy Spirit, enable us confidently to restore its fabric, trustfully to reimagine our vocation, and boldly to renew our ministries in your name. Make this place a house in which your love dwells and in which all your people find welcome. Grant this, we pray, through the one who leads us ever onward in your service, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
My siblings in Christ, our help is in the name of the Lord,
the maker of heaven and earth.
Blessed be the name of the Lord,
from this time forth forevermore.
The blessing, mercy, and grace of God Almighty, God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit, bless, preserve, and keep you, and be upon you and all those who love and serve with you this day and forevermore. Amen.
In peace, to love and serve the Lord.
Thanks be to God.